Greetings everyone, this is your Battle Buddy Mac Fergus once again with another video about State of Texas military awards. Today we're going to focus on the Texas State Guard medals. These are relatively new, been around for a couple of years now, but not a whole lot is known about them, and what little bit of information there is out there isn't very detailed. So what we're going to do together is look at them and take a deep dive into what are they, what do they look like, which award regulation covers them, and then we'll also talk about how do they compare to the Texas Military Department National Guard Awards, and even do some comparisons to the United States federal awards. And finally, we'll talk about how do you get these. Not so much how do you earn them as far as being recommended for the awards, but if you've received orders for this award and maybe they've given you the ribbon or maybe they've given you the certificate, how do you get your hands on one? And even if you were issued one of these medals, is getting that medal from your unit the only option that you have? Let's find out together. Let me start off by jumping out ahead in front of what some folks might be thinking of, oh, you didn't even put all of the State Guard medals on the beginning of your video, so why should I even listen to you? What they're probably thinking of is the Texas State Guard Service Medal. And the reason I'm not going to talk about the Texas State Guard Service Medal in this video is because the Texas State Guard Service Medal is not a Texas State Guard medal. I know that sounds crazy and you might be shaking your head at me, but go watch my other video. It's devoted entirely to the Texas State Guard Service Medal and why I don't think it's a Texas State Guard medal. It was in this video, but it got way out of control and it lasted over 10 minutes. So I broke it off from this video and made it its own video. So if you want to come at me in the comments on that one, go to my other video. It's just called the Texas State Guard Service Medal is not a Texas State Guard medal. I'm also not counting any association awards as Texas State Guard medals, even though members of the Texas State Guard are eligible for those. They're not governed by the Texas State Guard regulation. And a little bit of a spoiler, neither is the Texas State Guard Service Medal. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole with me, check out my other video. In the meantime, let's circle back around to the Texas State Guard medals. If you're still with me, that means I didn't completely lose you with the Texas State Guard Service Medal part, and that's good because I'm going to need you to bear with me a little bit longer because the next couple of seconds are going to seem a little crazier and might even seem like I'm being very condescending, but you'll see where I'm getting at. First off, before we go any further in this, we need to agree on three things. One, that this is the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve insignia. This is what it looks like. It has looked like this for a very long time. And the reason I'm bringing this up is you're going to see that I'm probably going to accuse some people of never having seen the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve insignia. The next thing I need us to all agree on is this is what the Texas flag looks like. It's red, white, and blue with a white star. And again, you might be rolling your eyes, but I will at some point soon accuse someone of never having seen the flag of the state of Texas. And lastly, this is the shape of the state of Texas. And you're probably hearing me now, and you probably know what I'm going to do. I'm going to accuse someone of having never seen what the state of Texas looks like. And here we go. Let's start our journey with the Texas State Guard Exemplary Service Medal. Now, this one isn't super terrible. I think whoever made this had probably seen the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve insignia maybe 2 or 3 times in their life, and then they are asked to recreate it from memory. So it's not awful, but you can see upon close examination, it's not a great rendering of the Texas State Guard patch. Next, let's look at this Texas State Guard Meritorious Service ribbon that got turned into a medal. The medallion features some kind of flag. I'm not exactly sure which kind of flag this is. It's sort of similar to a Texas flag, but as you can see, it's mostly all the same color. It does have a star on the left-hand side, but you can barely distinguish that there are any kinds of lines to indicate stripes or to separate the blue field from the red and the white stripes. This is just, it looks more like a white flag with a star on it more than anything else. So I'm not sure if whoever made this one has seen a Texas flag. Maybe someone described a Texas flag to them at one point, but I wouldn't call this a good representation of the Texas flag. Along the same lines of have you seen the Texas flag before is this Texas State Guard Commendation Medal. The star is way too high in comparison to where the horizontal stripe is to where the red and white stripes would be on a flag. If you have seen a Texas flag, you would know that the star is about level with that horizontal line there. So this star is way too high to represent a Texas flag. It's also really difficult to even see this star amongst the pattern here. And even if the pattern wasn't what it was, this giant ribbon that says commendation covers a lot of it. So this medal has a couple of things not really going well for it. What I think somebody did with the shape, this hexagon shape, is because the Army Commendation Medal and the other service commendation medals to have this hexagon shape, except on the federal medals, the hexagon is not the same length as height. But whoever made this medal just saw there was a hexagon and said, let's do a hexagon, even though the proportions are off if you do similar proportions for the federal commendation medals. Let's move on to the Texas State Guard Achievement Medal. I'm not even sure where to start on this one. That Texas is almost insulting. It was like someone was angry at Texas and drew this picture of Texas. I also questioned the crookedy lettering of it. The way the T and the E of Texas is crooked, it doesn't look right. And the bottom, how they have achievement written that way, it almost doesn't even look like the word achievement. It looks like 3 random Latin words or something. Like the commendation medal, I think the idea was to have it match the Army Achievement Medal, which is an octagonal shape, but it is not this octagonal shape. So probably someone in the description said make an octagonal medallion and put the shape of Texas in the middle of it and write Texas State Guard at the top and achievement at the bottom, and never followed through. And this is what happened. So I don't know what else to say about that one. Now let's look at the Texas State Guard Commanding General's Individual Award Medal. This one's not as bad as the other ones we've looked at, but it's still not a great representation of the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve insignia. Mainly the letter T doesn't look much like a T. It looks like 2 sticks connected together. You'll see that real teeny tiny at the top. There's a banner that says Commanding Generals, and you almost need a magnifying glass to read that. And at the bottom is another ribbon. Both of these ribbons covering a lot of the patch. It says Individual Award at the bottom. I'm not sure why they didn't just put Commanding Generals at the top of the medallion instead of Texas State Guard, and why they wouldn't put Individual Award at the bottom instead of Equal to the Task. That might have looked a whole lot better, but they didn't ask me. And this Texas State Guard patch, it doesn't look too good. It looks like somebody made out of Play-Doh. There's just too many layers stacked on top of each other. Another issue with this teeny tiny writing on a medal, which I've never seen in my entire life, is what are you going to do when you decide to make a miniature medal of this? Are you going to have to do some kind of electron microscope to see the writing on the banners? So I'm not a big fan of the design of this one either. But if you are, as I've said before, come at me in the comments. Let's see what happens. And the last medal that we'll talk about is the Texas State Guard Good Conduct Medal. My beef mainly is this design. The patch of the Texas State Guard does not curve at the top. I'm not sure why this is curved. It's a straight line. And the shape of the shield isn't very accurate. More so, it looks like another swing and a miss at an attempt to get the star with the letter T over it. I can't tell where is the star and where is the T. It's not the greatest design. So this is a little frustrating to me, because especially the Texas State Guard, where troops don't get a lot of money. Troops spend a lot more money than they make in the Texas State Guard. One of the few things you can do to reward troops with something tangible is give them the awards that they have coming to them. So why not put full effort and a full investment into these if you're going to do them? So I feel like if we're going to do these awards, we should do them right. That being said, there are some out there who are making an effort to fix this. You can see in history, if you look at early versions of the Texas National Guard Awards, like the Texas Outstanding Service Medal and the Texas Faithful Service Medal, you'll see that the quality improves over time. The first ones that were minted don't look as good as the ones you can get made today. So that might just be part of the natural evolution of awards. So I mentioned before, when you're issued one of these medals, is that your only option, the one that you get from your unit? Or are you able to upgrade to something that looks a little more professional and frankly something that respects your service a lot more than these ones? Anybody that has been in the federal service knows that pretty much everything issued to you was constructed or manufactured or built or assembled by the lowest bidder. And that might be what's happening here. These medals were put together by the lowest bidder, and most of you probably also know you get what you pay for. So what can you do? As I mentioned, there are some people out there working on this, and let me show you some examples of what they've come up with. So here on the left, you see the issued Texas State Guard Exemplary Service Medal with, as we talked about before, its pros and cons. On the right, you see the updated version, which is now available commercially. You can tell that the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve patch looks a lot different on the right one. And overall, the quality of the medal looks better. Then you can see examples of the Texas State Guard Exemplary Service Medal in the large bronze, the large gold finish, and then the miniatures. Here's the Texas State Guard Meritorious Service Medal. On the left is the issued version, and on the right is the newer version that you can obtain commercially. You can see that it's far superior. On the right is clearly the flag of Texas in the center, and not some ambiguous something kind of banner like on the left-hand one. And here's the different examples of available medallions. The typical bronze large size, the gold large size, and the 2 miniatures. Here is the updated Texas State Guard Commendation Medal. What you can see is on the left, as I mentioned before, the large star on the medal. I'm not sure why there's 2 stars, a mini star inside of a larger star, but it is what it is. And the large star is hard to see because most of it is covered up under that commendation streamer. And also the pattern of bumping, if you look real close, it's less like bumping and more like little worms on there. It makes it hard to see the star in the first place. But on the right hand, you can see that not only is the little star positioned correctly as it would be on a Texas flag, the ribbon banner at the top doesn't take up so much space. The edges fold behind the star so you can see more of the big star, and the little bit it covers so you can see the word commendation still allows you to see the top of the star and doesn't take away from the design. You may also notice that the dimensions are slightly different. The one on the right is more in tune with the proportions of the federal commendation medal sizes. And here are examples of the different sizes and the different finishes for the Texas State Guard Commendation Medal. Here is the Texas State Guard Commanding General's Individual Award. On the right hand, you can see a much better representation of the Texas State Guard shoulder sleeve insignia in the center, and it's not obscured at all by the ribbon banner material at the top and bottom. It's still there, and the Commanding General's is still in kind of small letters at the top, and individual awards still at the bottom. But the idea was to improve the designs, not to radically change the designs. You do what you can with the material given to you. Here are the different ones available. And lastly, the Texas State Guard Good Conduct Medal. I believe the one on the right is by far superior, especially if you look at the representation of the Texas State Guard patch in the center. It looks more like a Texas State Guard patch than the one on the left. And here are the different options available. Also look very clean and crisp. Another aspect I would like to point out on the new Texas State Guard version of the medals is the thickness. Here you see an example of 2 federal awards on the left, the Army Commendation Medal, and then the next one to the right is the Army Achievement Medal, and then 2 Texas Military Department National Guard awards, the Texas Medal of Merit, and then on the far right, the Texas Faithful Service Medal. Side note, you might notice the ribbons are shiny and have the wave pattern that moves as you adjust the ribbon to the light. This is what I was talking about earlier about a moire pattern on the ribbon. I'm going to do another video just on ribbons and ribbon material and ribbon length and all those things, but I'm going to save that for my next video. But you can spot it here. What I'll have you notice besides the moire pattern of the ribbon is the thickness of the medals. They are all, the federal and the state ones are the same thickness. And here's a still picture of since we've established that the Texas National Guard medals are the same thickness as most of the federal ones. Some of the more prestigious federal ones are thicker, obviously, but most of the federal awards are this thickness. And I'm sure that was by design. Also note the ribbon on the Texas National Guard Faithful Service metal has the moire pattern. It's kind of like a water pattern. It looks real nice. But compare the thickness to this National Guard metal to the issue version of the Texas State Guard metal. It's thicker, it's heavier, it's clunkier, and you can tell by looking at it. Now in contrast, this is the same Faithful Service metal from the National Guard next to the upgraded Texas State Guard metals, and you'll see it's the same level of thickness. One more, let's look at the issue version of the Texas State Guard Achievement medal. As you can see, it's thicker than the other medals, but the new version of the Texas State Guard Achievement medal is the correct thickness. And why does this matter? You want uniformity on your medals rack when if you're mounting them for display or if you're wearing them. It stands out when medals aren't the right size, or ribbons are too long, or ribbons are too wide, or the medallions are too thick. Those things do stand out. So you want to get as close to uniform as possible. So as promised before, my next video I will focus on the ribbon material. If you have a Texas State Guard issue medal and you want to go look at it right now, go ahead and pause the video and go look at it. You'll see that the ribbon material is poor quality. And while you got your issued medal out and looking at it, look at the back and see how it's attached with this this pin back thing. And these are handy for when you're pinning a medal on a troop in formation. But once the troop gets that medal back to the house and they try to do something with it, it's nearly impossible. These things don't slide out very easily. You have to get tools and pliers and pull them apart. And then even when you do get them pulled apart, they don't fit onto a ribbon rack. The issued ribbons and the issued medals of Texas State Guard medals are the wrong size. Some of them are too long, some of them are too wide, some of them are too tall. They just don't fit. And again, that goes back to these were put together by the lowest bidder for the quickest turnaround. Well, that's all I got for everyone today. If this video was interesting or helpful, I hope you'll give it a like. And be sure to subscribe to the channel. I don't post super often, but when I do, I don't want you to miss anything. My videos are all going to be related to State of Texas Military Award. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And that includes my next video coming out, which will be focused on ribbon material used for State of Texas Military Awards. So until then, Mac Fergus out.